It's been weeks of pure silence from Chrissy Lampkin. No posts, no interviews, nothing but whispers. But just when fans thought she'd completely checked out, her closest friend stepped forward with a chilling confession that left everyone speechless. From late-night calls where Chrissy couldn't stop crying, to hidden struggles she never wanted the world to see. This insider is finally peeling back the curtain on what's really been going on behind closed doors. According to the friend, Chrissy's been dealing with pain that goes way deeper than what fans see on TV. The betrayal, the public humiliation, the pressure to keep smiling while her world quietly falls apart. It's been eating her alive. And now, the truth about her mental state, her relationship with Jim Jones, and the shocking reason she's distanced herself from everyone is starting to come out. This isn't just another celebrity story, it's a breakdown in real time. One that might explain everything about Chrissy's silence and why she might never be the same again. The news of Chrissy Lampkin's silence had the internet spinning in confusion. For weeks, fans noticed she hadn't posted anything, no motivational quotes, no selfies, no updates from her usually busy life. For someone as bold and outspoken as Chrissy, this kind of quiet wasn't normal. People began to worry something serious was happening behind the scenes. Some fans speculated she and Jim Jones had finally gone their separate ways. Others believed the stress of public life had finally taken its toll. But no one expected what came next. Chrissy's closest friend stepping forward with an emotional reveal that exposed, just how dark things had become. According to that friend, Chrissy hadn't been herself for a long time. What fans saw online, the confident woman with the sharp tongue and fierce attitude, was only a shell of who she used to be. She's been through a lot, the friend said softly during a late-night phone interview. It's not just about fame or relationships. It's deeper. Chrissy's been carrying pain nobody really knows about. Those words hit hard for fans who grew up watching her on Love and Hip Hop New York, where her story with Jim Jones became one of reality TV's most talked about romances. But behind all the glitz, the red carpets and the cameras, Chrissy was fighting battles that fame couldn't fix. Sources close to her claimed that she'd been emotionally drained after years of trying to make things work with people, with family, and with herself. The friend said Chrissy started to pull away from everyone, isolating herself to avoid breaking down in public. She used to be the life of the room, they added. Now she barely picks up the phone. When rumors started swirling about Jim Jones' absence from her life, Chrissy didn't say a word. No denial, no clarification, just silence. That silence said more than any statement ever could. Insiders claimed that things between Chrissy and Jim had grown distant again, with the couple spending more time apart than together. It wasn't just about arguments or disagreements, it was emotional fatigue. The friend revealed that Chrissy often confided in them about how exhausting it was to keep pretending everything was fine. She felt like she had to keep smiling, they explained, even when she was breaking inside. In private, Chrissy reportedly broke down several times, telling her friend she didn't know who to trust anymore. The media had always been quick to judge her, painting her as controlling or dramatic whenever things got messy with Jim. But few understood the kind of emotional weight that came with constantly being in the spotlight. Every time she tried to start over, her past was dragged back into the public eye. Every mistake was turned into a headline, and every tear she shed became entertainment for people online. Her friend described nights where Chrissy would call just to talk, her voice trembling but trying to sound strong. She'd say she was fine, but you could hear it, the exhaustion, the pain. She was just tired of fighting the same battles. Those who knew her best said she'd always been a fighter, but even fighters need rest. The years of trying to prove herself, defend her love, and protect her peace had started to break her down in ways fans couldn't imagine. What hurt the most, according to her friend, was seeing people online mock her for her silence. Some fans accused her of being washed up, while others claimed she was irrelevant without Jim. Those comments cut deep. For someone who had built her image around strength, being dismissed like that was devastating. She reads those comments, the friend admitted. People think celebrities don't care, but Chrissy does. She always cared. As the weeks went by, Chrissy's absence became impossible to ignore. Paparazzi spotted her just once during that time wearing dark glasses, avoiding cameras, and keeping her head down. That image went viral, sparking even more concern. What happened to the fiery woman who once stood up to anyone without hesitation? Fans started trending #WeLoveYouChrissy across social media, hoping she'd see their support. But still, there was no response. Her friend revealed that behind the scenes, Chrissy was taking time to heal. The constant pressure of being judged, compared, and criticized had pushed her to the edge. She needed space not just from the media, but from everyone. She wanted to remember who she was before all of this, they said. Before the fame, before the cameras, before the chaos. Some people close to her tried to reach out, including a few castmates from Love and Hip Hop, but Chrissy wasn't ready. She felt like too many people wanted to check on her just to have something to talk about later. Trust had become a rare thing in her world. Her friends said Chrissy had learned the hard way that not everyone's intentions were pure. She's been betrayed by people she thought were family, they explained. That kind of pain doesn't go away overnight. Meanwhile, fans couldn't help but wonder what this meant for her future with Jim. Reports surfaced suggesting that he had been focusing on his music and appearances, while Chrissy stayed out of sight. Some insiders claimed they were still together but taking a break. Others said they had quietly separated months ago. But Chrissy refused to make any public statements. She's not the type to air dirty laundry anymore, her friend said. If she's hurting, she deals with it privately now. That quiet strength is something her friend deeply admired. Despite everything she's been through, Chrissy hasn't lashed out, hasn't posted a single bitter message, and hasn't sought pity. Instead, she's been trying to rebuild herself piece by piece. She's learning to be okay on her own, the friend shared. She's finally realizing her worth isn't defined by anyone else. The story of Chrissy Lampkin's silence became more than just gossip. It became a reflection of how even the strongest people can reach their breaking point. For years, fans saw her as this unshakable woman, unafraid to speak her mind. But now they were seeing the human side of her, the side that hurts, that doubts, that needs to breathe. Her friend ended the conversation with one last thought that stuck with everyone who heard it. She's not done. Chrissy's just healing. When she comes back, she's going to be stronger than ever. And maybe that's why her silence has lasted so long. Because sometimes, silence isn't weakness. It's preparation for a comeback no one sees coming. When Chrissy Lampkin's close friends spoke those words, "She's been through a lot," it opened the floodgates for conversations fans weren't ready to have. For years, Chrissy was portrayed as the strong, unshakable woman who could handle anything. But the reality was, that strength came at a cost. Every time she fought back publicly, every time she stood her ground against judgment, she carried the emotional scars in silence. And now, that silence was finally being understood for what it truly was: exhaustion in the days after her friend's statement went public. The internet lit up. Former castmates, industry insiders, and even bloggers who once criticized her were now sending messages of support. But the damage had already been done. Chrissy had spent years being the target of cruel comments and disrespect, especially from people who never knew her personally. She was accused of being controlling in her relationship, too outspoken for her own good, and even toxic to Jim Jones' career. The irony, her friend said, was that Chrissy was one of the few people who ever truly had Jim's back when no one else did. Behind closed doors, Chrissy had sacrificed more than fans realized. There were times when she paused her own dreams just to help Jim chase his. She's always been that kind of woman, her friend revealed. She'll give everything she has to the people she loves, even when it means losing pieces of herself. That pattern, they said, was one of the reasons she eventually hit her breaking point. After years of giving, she found herself empty, with no one left to pour into her. Jim, on the other hand, wasn't entirely blind to her pain. Sources claimed he had reached out several times, trying to repair things. But Chrissy wasn't ready to talk. She needs space, one insider said. She loves him, but love doesn't erase years of hurt. Fans started debating whether the couple was finally over for good, but the truth was more complicated. It wasn't about separation, it was about survival. The emotional toll of their relationship wasn't the only thing weighing on Chrissy. Her friend hinted that family matters had also played a huge role in her disappearance. There were unresolved issues, things she never talked about publicly that haunted her. Losing touch with people she once called family, watching friendships crumble under the pressure of fame, and constantly being misrepresented in the media had taken away her sense of peace. She's been trying to find herself again, the friend said softly. You know, the old Chrissy, the one who loved to laugh, loved to create, loved to build something from nothing. That's the part she misses most. As the public continued speculating, Chrissy was reportedly spending her days in quiet reflection. No film crews, no red carpets, no glam squads, just her, in her home. Surrounded by the memories of a life that felt like it belonged to someone else. Her friend described how she'd started journaling again, something she hadn't done in years. She writes about everything: her regrets, her dreams, her pain. She's using her words to heal. Even though she's been absent from social media, Chrissy hasn't completely shut the world out. A few trusted people still visit her, and they've described her as calm but deeply introspective. She's not broken, one of them said. She's just rebuilding herself quietly, and she's doing it without needing validation from anyone. Still, some fans weren't convinced everything was fine. Photos of Jim Jones attending events alone reignited gossip about a potential breakup. One particular clip from a nightclub, where Jim appeared distant and uninterested when asked about Chrissy, went viral within hours. Viewers dissected every second of his reaction, claiming it confirmed their worst fears that the relationship had finally fallen apart. But Chrissy's friend quickly shut down the rumors. People love to assume, they said. Just because you don't see them together doesn't mean they've stopped caring about each other. Sometimes distance is the only way to heal what's been broken. What made this situation so unique was how much fans felt emotionally connected to Chrissy's story. For more than a decade, they'd watched her love, fight, cry, and forgive on national television. They'd seen her propose to Jim only to be left waiting. They'd witnessed her loyalty, her pain, and her resilience. So when she disappeared, it didn't feel like just another celebrity fading away. It felt personal. She was like family to a lot of people, one longtime fan tweeted. Seeing her like this hurts. And yet, as painful as it's been, some believe this moment of silence is the most powerful thing Chrissy's ever done. It's her way of reclaiming her story from the chaos. Her friend revealed that she's been turning down media requests left and right, refusing to let anyone twist her words again. She told me, if I talk, it's going to be when I'm ready and it's going to be real. That statement alone gave fans hope. Maybe Chrissy wasn't gone forever, maybe she was just preparing for something new. There's been quiet talk among insiders that she's working on a personal project that has nothing to do with reality TV. Something creative, something healing. She wants to build something for herself this time, her friend hinted. Something that represents who she is, now not who the world thinks she is. In a way, her silence has become her protest. Instead of fighting back against every rumor, she's chosen peace. Instead of chasing validation, she's found strength in solitude. It's a lesson that many of her fans have taken to heart. Social media threads are now filled with people sharing how Chrissy's story inspired them to take a step back from toxic relationships. From online negativity, from pretending to be okay when they're not. Her disappearance has become symbolic. Proof that sometimes the most powerful statement you can make is by saying nothing at all. But that doesn't mean she isn't feeling the love. Her friend said she's aware of the support flooding her comments. She reads it, they confirmed. Even if she doesn't respond, she sees it. It means more to her than anyone realizes. What people forget is that Chrissy has always been private at her core. Even when the cameras were rolling, she kept certain parts of herself hidden. The difference now is that she's no longer hiding out of fear, she's protecting her peace. She's done letting the world define her, her friend said firmly. She's writing her own story this time. The truth is, Chrissy Lampkin has been through storms most people wouldn't survive. But she's still standing, even if it's quietly. The silence, the withdrawal, the emotional distance, it's all part of her rebuilding. Fans may miss the outspoken, fiery woman they once saw on TV. But the woman emerging from this silence might be stronger, wiser, and far more powerful than anyone expects. And while the world waits for her return, her close friends' words continue to echo. She's been through a lot, but she's not done yet. When she comes back, she'll remind everyone exactly who she is. Weeks passed, and the noise around Chrissy Lampkin's silence started to fade. The tabloids moved on, the gossip pages quieted, but her true supporters stayed. Every post about her absence still filled with thousands of comments, messages of love, hope, and patience. It was clear people weren't just curious about Chrissy. They genuinely cared about her. Yet behind the quiet walls of her home, Chrissy was still piecing her heart together. Trying to understand how everything in her life had unraveled so fast, her close friend, who had spoken out weeks before, finally decided to clarify more of what was really going on. She's been hurting for a long time, they said. What people saw on Love and Hip Hop was only part of the story. The real battles, the ones that broke, happened off camera. Those words carried weight. Fans who once judged her for being too dramatic or too emotional began to realize she was never just fighting for attention, she was fighting to be understood. One of the biggest sources of pain for Chrissy had been the constant cycle of hope and disappointment in her relationship with Jim Jones. No matter how many times they tried to start over, something always pulled them apart. And this time, according to those close to her, it felt different. Final. The friend revealed that Chrissy had reached a point where she stopped asking for clarity. She didn't want to argue, she didn't want closure, she just wanted peace. She told me one night, the friend recalled, that sometimes love doesn't end because the feelings disappear. It ends because you get tired of being the only one fighting. That sentence captured everything Chrissy had been through. She wasn't bitter, she wasn't angry, she was just done trying to hold together something that kept falling apart. People around her noticed that she wasn't crying as much anymore. Instead, she'd begun to smile softly again, even laugh occasionally. It wasn't the same fiery energy fans knew her for. It was quieter, softer, more self-aware. She's finally learning how to love herself the way she always loved everyone else, her friend said. But as Chrissy began to heal privately, the public wouldn't let go of her story. Bloggers started spinning new rumors, suggesting that she was secretly battling health issues or facing financial trouble. Others claimed she was planning to write a tell-all book about her time on the show. None of it was true. In reality, Chrissy had completely stepped away from the industry, taking long walks, reconnecting with family, and exploring life outside of fame. She's not chasing the spotlight anymore, the friend explained. She's chasing peace. One particular moment defined her new chapter, a phone call her friend described with vivid detail. It happened late one night after weeks of silence between them. Chrissy called, her voice calm but steady, and said, "I'm finally starting to forgive myself." Her friend asked what she meant, and Chrissy explained that for years, she blamed herself for everything that went wrong, for the public criticism, for the failed expectations, for staying in situations that drained her. But now, she was realizing she had done her best with the heart she had. It was in that moment her friend knew the old Chrissy, the woman who once carried the weight of the world on her shoulders, was gone. In her place was someone more grounded, someone ready to move forward without needing validation from anyone. She said she's not looking for apologies anymore, the friend shared. She's learned that sometimes the people who hurt you will never say sorry, and you have to make peace with that. And that's exactly what Chrissy has been doing, making peace with her past. Even though she hasn't returned to social media, she's been quietly rebuilding her confidence, taking small steps toward happiness. A few insiders hinted that she's been working on something creative again. But this time, it's personal, something she's doing purely for herself. It's not about money or fame, her friend said. It's about healing through creation. Meanwhile, fans continue to flood her old posts with encouragement. Some write long paragraphs about how Chrissy inspired them to stand up for themselves, while others share their own struggles with love and loss. The empathy pouring in has turned her comment sections into a space of collective healing. It's like she created a community without even trying, her friend noted. Everyone who's ever felt broken relates to her story. But not everyone has been supportive. A few critics resurfaced, mocking her silence and suggesting she'd fallen off. Yet this time, Chrissy didn't respond. There were no angry rants, no defensive posts, just silence. Her friend said, "That's how you know she's truly growing." The old Chrissy would have clapped back in a heartbeat. They laughed softly. But now, she just lets them talk. She's past the point of needing to prove herself. The most emotional part of her journey, however, came when her friend mentioned her late-night reflections about love and legacy. Chrissy reportedly said that her biggest fear wasn't losing people, it was losing herself while trying to please them. That realization changed everything for her. She told me she wants to be remembered not for the drama, not for who she dated, but for how she survived it all. There's something undeniably poetic about her evolution. From being labeled as too strong to finally embracing her softness, Chrissy has redefined what strength truly means. It's not about never breaking. It's about rebuilding yourself after you do. Her friend said she's been journaling lines like, "Peace isn't quiet, it's a decision. And healing doesn't mean you forget. It means you choose yourself anyway." Those words showed just how far she's come from the days when every headline tried to define her worth. The last time her friend visited, they found Chrissy sitting outside on her porch, sipping tea and watching the sunset. There was no glam squad, no cameras, just a woman finally at peace. She looked at me and said, "I used to think silence was loneliness. Now I think it's freedom." That sentence brought tears to her friend's eyes because it was clear Chrissy wasn't broken anymore. She had transformed her pain into wisdom. Still, her story doesn't end there. The people closest to her say she's been considering opening up publicly again, but on her own terms. She's not rushing it, but she knows her voice matters. She wants to share her truth, but not for clout, her friend explained. She wants to help other women who've gone through heartbreak, betrayal, and public humiliation. She wants them to know they can still find peace after the storm. That quiet determination is what makes her so powerful now, even without saying a word. Chrissy Lampkin has reminded the world that healing doesn't happen in front of an audience. It happens in the quiet moments when no one's watching. Her silence isn't weakness, it's wisdom. Her distance isn't predits protection. And as the months go by, her name continues to trend every few weeks. Not because of drama, but because people miss her presence. They miss the authenticity, the passion, the strength that made her unforgettable. Her close friends summed it up perfectly. She's not gone. She's just becoming who she was always meant to be. And when she decides to step back into the light, everyone will see this. New Chrissy isn't here to prove anything. She's here to live. 'Cause after years of heartbreak, judgment, and survival, Chrissy Lampkin finally learned the hardest lesson of all sometimes. Disappearing is the only way to truly find yourself again. If you've followed Chrissy Lampkin's journey over the years, then you know this story isn't just about heartbreak, it's about healing, growth, and rediscovering your power when the world tries to silence you. Chrissy's transformation is something so many people can relate to. We've all had moments when life felt too heavy, when love felt one-sided, and when walking away seemed like the only way to survive. Her silence may have confused some, but now it's clear it was her way of reclaiming her peace, and that's why we want to hear from you. Do you believe Chrissy will return stronger than ever, or do you think she's finally done with the public spotlight for good? Drop your thoughts in the comments because your voice matters here. If this story touched you, make sure to hit that like button. Lets us know you're part of the family that truly supports growth, healing, and second chances. And if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe and turn on all notifications, because there's a lot more unfolding behind the scenes that you won't want to miss. Chrissy's silence may have spoken volumes, But her comeback, whenever it happens, will be even louder. Stay tuned, stay kind, and remember, sometimes the quietest battles create the strongest warriors.